In it, he writes,
Sure.
for millennia, the forest was the invisible hand holding human history. Jump into that history with us, grab a copy of The Horse, and join Brian Warner's September 11th in Grand Junction as we record an episode of our show and the author takes your questions. Get tickets and more information at cpr.org/Cambridge.
Should have gave him a pervert peace sign. Peace.
When we come
Let's
back,
put it in a
Denver
different
officials
bag
are
somewhere.
feeling the heat after a long hot summer.
I don't think you
Best
can
ways
be
to cool
behind
off in the city?
anything.
Colorado Wonders is next on Colorado Matters from CPR News and KRCC.
And Mike Lamp with these headlines. The Colorado Legislature could wrap up its special session today. The State House passed a property tax measure Wednesday. It now faces a final vote in the State Senate. Voters in Colorado Springs will see competing ballot measures this fall about recreational marijuana.
My SSA is all right. There's nothing wrong with it.
Businesses to apply to sell
They're just screwing
recreational
with me.
marijuana. Another measure put on the ballot by the City Council will ban recreational businesses in the city's charter. The University of Colorado Buffaloes open their new football season tonight. They host North Dakota State in their return to the Big 12 Conference. CU left the Pac-12 at the end of last season. And events get underway today at the Paralympics, and Colorado athletes are competing in shooting and swimming. We'll be keeping track of Coloradans at the Paralympics.
So there's this archer
It's mostly
that's got
sunny
the,
today.
just
Colorado
the
Springs, just a chance for
world
thunderstorms
record
this
for
December.
most accurate shot. And
So morning edition for
disabled or not.
can't transport you to the beach this
And he
summer,
doesn't have no
but can
arms.
keep you company through all your summer
He shoots with his
adventures
feet.
and keep you informed.
and he holds the world record for the most accurate longest distance.
On KRCC and CPR
How did he
News.
do that?
I don't know.
Digital sponsorship
He
is
was
an effective
born
way
without
to
arms,
connect
so
with
he's
the
never
Colorado
had them.
community. Get your message
He said he saw it on TV one day and just decided, I'm going to learn to do that. And he did.
Learn more
And now he's been to a couple of Olympics. He won silver last time.
Support comes from JVAG,
Gold this time.
legal services,
Good for him.
specializing in business, real estate, water, and estate planning. Learn more online at jvamlaw.com or at 970-922-2122.
CPR News and KRCC keep you in the know. Listen at work, wherever you're working. Just ask your smart speaker. Play CPR News to stay connected at home.
This is Colorado Matters from CPR News and KRCC. I'm Shonda Townsville. Colorado has been over 100 degrees at least 6 days this summer, and we've been having in the 90s on other days. Retiree Michelle Fry says the high temperatures have been hurt.
What is that strap on that? Is that something filling up tire?
Oh, I don't know. I see that on a few. I see it on a few of the trucks.
Seeking solutions.
It's just a flat
Paula Shelton.
on their.
As the
I
sun
thought maybe
scorched
you
the
were
city
gonna-
in late July,
I was asking about it.
Trust of Denver City police, nonprofit leaders, and community
I was gonna ask him.
gathered in an air-conditioned
What
room
is this?
with one thing at the top of their mind. What solutions can the city pursue as record high temperatures continue to roast the state?
I remember when I lived in New Jersey before coming to Denver, everyone said, oh, bring your winter jacket. Denver's so cold.
One of these days I have to
And I think people don't necessarily
over
think
to
of heat when they think of living
leave
here,
those teeth
visiting
at home,
Denver,
looking for them.
and it's something
To see
that
anything
we
bad
need to
that
plan
they
for.
That's Liz Cohen, the manager of Denver's Office of Climate Action, Sustainability, and Resiliency. For the last few months, she's been helping organize a series of heat summits to collect and discuss ideas from the community about addressing extreme heat with the ultimate goal of developing actionable solutions. The city held 4 of the summits, each aimed at different groups. No idea was too wild, as evidenced by the invitation organizers sent to the Denver Zoo Conservation Alliance.
They have some really interesting things that they have to do to help keep their animals safe when it gets hot. They have misters, for example, for some of their bighorn sheep.
One of the heat summit dinners was aimed at community advocates and neighborhood associations. Norman Hahn, president of the Alma Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association, attended to advocate for the creation of more shade. Upon want to see Denver's
Those are to keep the tires from moving.
that the city's current policies upon building
The stabilizers.
He said the current rules don't
Oh, to
encourage
keep
buildings that
depending
create
on
shade
your
in
driving.
Denver's dense urban centers.
You go down to like
You pull them off when you need them, and pick them up when you don't need them.
to overhang the sidewalk. You know, they don't provide full shade, but they do. You know, at the right
Guy
time.
looked at me
provide
just
you
like he
some
was
good
better
shade
than
while
me.
you're walking down those streets. We're building our city for.
I hate that shit.
At the city's last heat summit meeting in July,
Makes me feel like people are stupid.
Prior discussions gathered one last time.
Huh?
This time to finalize what solutions the city should champion. Brenda Negrete, a bilingual program associate with people, want to see the city
How I
continue
think
to
it is.
respond strongly, especially in historically disadvantaged
Kitty, what are you doing in here?
These communities have continuously
No kitty.
been disregarded, treated as though they're not there,
I say we-
displaced, especially in our Denver communities. You can see that through
You get another trailer.
through different efforts historically.
Candace
We take it on
Johnny
weekends
for
with the cats.
vulnerable populations in mind and its solutions.
Randy, he's pulling out in front of you.
She said
Fuck you, asshole.
in-person programs
Hey,
for his awareness
Come here, you fucking pussy.
benefit senior citizens in particular.
Pull over.
The idea they made pooling kits
You fucking pussy.
to hand out, and I think that's a great idea. It was a pack to go on your neck, so you could be a little bit cooler. Maybe
I'll
a
catch him.
separate bottle.
I catch him down the road, I'm gonna hit the
Some
fucker.
sheets, some information.
He almost pulled right into you.
You know what to do when it's very
That's a girl.
The Office of Climate Action
There was a girl.
agreed upon suggestions from the heat summit meetings on
I thought
August
his buddy was going to do the same fucking thing.
No.
John Champion.
He almost did. He's right behind us.
Increasing funding for cooling options such as
What's the name of that company? Ready?
pumps and temporary air conditioning. The company also suggested improving renters' protections by requiring a maximum indoor temperature for rental properties.
If you catch him, I can get a license for
Heating requirements during the winter.
Get a truck number.
The office said the resources freed up by these recommendations will make the heat more bearable for all people, especially vulnerable populations. Kellen Reed, director of the Office of Climate Action, said the next step to implementing these recommendations is
got three of them.
short term, and which ones are further in the future. It's also they'll divvy up the work to nonprofits, organizations, and city agencies.
So we're going to make things out, and then we're going to be making it to the workers and folks that were involved and those that want to get involved that may not already be involved to enact solutions.
Kellen emphasized that as it currently stands, these are simply community recommendations. Some may need approval from city council or local agencies before being implemented. But as summer's almost over,
Did you leave those drinks in the cooler or did you take them in?
Did I what?
Did you leave that little drink in the cooler or did you take it in?
I took it in.
People were treated for heat illnesses during the last peak air show in Colorado Springs earlier this month. 10 were taken to the hospital. Now people are asking what could organizers have done to prevent it. CPR Southern Colorado reporter Dan Boyce says emergency response crews and organizers are exploring that question.
Capacity crowds of 15,000 flocked to both days of the biennial Pikes Peak Regional Air Show at the Colorado Springs Airport, the weekend of August 17th and 18th. That's according to Lauren DeMarco, communications manager for the Colorado Springs Sports Corporation, a long-standing community events manager that put on the show.
It was probably one of, if not the biggest ticketed event in Colorado Springs up to that.
But there was a major problem. Temperatures were in the low 90s in the area, but much hotter at the airport.
Definitely got hot, and we did our best to kind of educate the public and, hydrate and bring your umbrellas.
As the sun beat down on the concrete and asphalt and tarmac, temperatures at the event site itself soared into the hundreds. Ashley Franco with the Colorado Springs Fire Department says the medical tent started seeing more and more people by midday Saturday.
Really started filling up, and we ended up calling in more resources. Probably around 1, I think the time was, to come and help at the airport.
Several fire trucks were called in, carrying EMTs and paramedics to assist with treatment as the numbers rose. Colorado Springs Utilities brought in a free water tanker for the afternoon. Water had previously only been available for purchase. By the end of the day, 100 people had to be treated and 10 were taken to the hospital. Many of the additional resources were kept in place the next day,
What
but
did they do?
still 40 more people.
This is at the air show.
With
10
one
people ended up in the hospital and over 100
Franco
ended
says
up
the
with
department
heat-related
had
illnesses.
procedures.
We have
Because of the airport, the tarmac was over 100 degrees, even though it was only like 90 degrees temperature-wise.
is a La Nina for the Pacific. That is the cooler average sea surface temperatures near the equator. That's what it looks like will be the dominant force into the winter. And typically, a La Nina winter manifests itself in a northwest to southeast jet stream flowing across the United States, which means our storm track will be coming down from the Pacific Northwest into Colorado, which normally favors the northern and central mountains as storm. It doesn't as much favor the southwestern parts of the state down toward Durango and Telluride.
Nelson says the fall colors should be pretty good this year, and the leaves turn shades of gold to
What's that?
red. Says that changing of the season.
Man, that kid that couldn't gas myself.
Next in our special series, Elements of Energy, why Indonesia believes nickel could pave the way to political and economic independence. We were colonized for 350 years. The next 70 years, we are still producing commodities, which was the reason why we were colonized. Something has to change. The promise of nickel.
Remember I had
our
tried to
series,
spell
Elements
on
of Energy, on the
it
next.
was really, really uncomfortable.
Listen at 10 on CBR News and KRCC and
It's perfect
Colorado
now.
Public Radio.
What's wrong with
CPR
it?
thinks modern market
I must
provides
have.
financial support.
Got it a little
Learn
bit
more
bigger.
about modern market and the hundreds of
Well, I
other
used to drop on my
organizations
butt.
that
Remember?
sponsor Colorado Public Radio on the support page at
not doing that.
CPR.org.
So it's going to be my new favorite though. No, I almost went to the store to buy them. It's cute.
This is Colorado from CPR News. I'm Shaka Thomas. Grammy-winning jazz saxophonist Joey Barker is inspiration for Colorado. This is the first air breathtaking reviews that inspired much of his work, including many of the
I
signature
think that Reddit
collaborations
driver's
that defined his career.
almost
In September, Barker paid tribute to one of his favorite artists, Godfather of Soul, James Brown. Cancer and Lung Trouble. This will be in 2022 by his favorite collaborations and the joy of making music.
It's a big part of the musical even collaborating with other artists really brings special music and other great chapters to the listening ear of our audiences. We like to mix it up a lot. I don't want to write all the songs and perform all the songs by myself. It's a lot more fun for me to be a part of a team and share teams with folks who I truly love on different levels, both musically, spiritually, and otherwise. And it just puts the music on a higher platform.
What if that bag did not fall into a scratch?
Collaborating with one of those major facets of it that we just
No, I would have seen it because I had it.
Here's an excerpt from Sheen magazine. Albright is not only a
If I
master
threw a
saxophonist,
strawberry,
he is also a multi-instrumentalist who takes extreme pride in producing extraordinary music that resonates deep into the hearts and souls of people on a global
I
scale.
did find another one
How
of
does
those
it feel to hear you and your work is
things. These I brought to Old Memory. I have two of these.
saxophone when I was 9 years old. It's my dream to be on stage and have my own band,
One's a
music, and a
What's a
record deal.
recorder? I don't know if the other
I
one
just
is.
really have been fulfilling my dream and purpose. I feel over all these years,
It smells fine.
just getting started, I feel like there's more
Russ
music
should
to
put
do,
on
more
script
music
music.
to write, and perform. I love being on stage and witnessing the spontaneity of the music and the oneness with the audience. It just never gets old. It's old.
Well, clearly you've done a lot with your career. You've sold more than 1 million albums in the U.S. alone and have appeared on over 200 albums with a wide variety of artists. Some of those artists include Anita Baker, Olivia Newton-John, Temptations, Maurice White of Denver's hometown band Earth, Wind & Fire. You've also toured with Quincy Jones and Whitney Houston. What stands out to you as a top career highlight?
We
I've got a few
spoke
broad
earlier
job
about
offers.
you're on the stage with Whitney Houston.
I need to go to the,
You're in front of 50, 60, 70,000, sometimes 100,000 people.
UPS, not UPS, but
And
the
sometimes
FedEx.
you look off the stage
Knock on their door and see if they
this is a true testimony of how powerful music is for these people to stand out all day and you can't even see the end of the crowd because it's so massive. It's just working with Phil is just one of the apex of my career because he's just quite a gentleman himself. Of course, quite a musician, as everybody knows. I smile at those experiences that I've had with him. So it's great. It's great to have him.
Chips and salsa.
I just love Latin music. I was very fortunate to be a bassist and a saxophonist with the great Willie Bobo, who was a premier recording artist for many, many years. That style of music was very festive, high energy, and I really enjoyed that. So out of those experiences, I wrote Chips and Salsa, and originally recorded it with a small combo. Just a rhythm section, and then when we decided to do it on the Hot Night in Paris, Phil Collins record, it went from that to like a major big band guitar sound. And I just love both arrangements because one is very intimate, the other one is just full throttle, high energy with a bunch of horns and full rhythm section. So it's nice to have both versions to appreciate.
And I hate it when you barely turn that on.
I don't like that lady's voice.
Check out the city.
You know what?
Homes, you know.
The lady that was talking earlier, I hate her voice. It just irritates me.
Well, he was really UN, huh? Secretly.
He was really weird, you know. So, and so we did that. For 2 days, we saw about 25 homes, which is a lot of work, by the way. And we went to the downtown area, the 16th Street Mall, and that whole area, and just kind of captured the essence of it. And long story short, we moved 45 days later from that experience, and we just love being here. We're almost 18 years into being Colorado residents, and we just loved it.
What projects have been inspired by Colorado?
Well, in 2006, I released a project that I'm very proud of called New Beginnings. And it seriously was New Beginnings for us. We're from the West Coast, and we've never lived anywhere else.
Women sometimes just have weight problems they can't control.
Colorado, we did this.
Control it.
You know, just
doesn't matter what
seeing
you
the wildlife and the people were very nice.
eat anything at all, and pop up like a balloon. Especially
when I
after a
listen to
couple
songs
of
on
kids.
that record, it always makes me reflect back to when we first moved here. It was a win-win for all of us as a family. So
I don't think that's always true.
No, it's not always
was
true.
one that came out of that.
Sometimes it is too many good men. Here. 2 more drinks.
Oh, and here.
I was here, so I was by the place. I looked out, I might as well. I didn't want another pizza, but last time we were gig here. I told my penny joke. Yeah, I gotta get this shirt off. It's too hot. I figured that was gonna happen. I figured on the way home I really wish I had worn it. And I brought the matching pants up there too. So if there's flies everywhere and mosquitoes everywhere, that's what I put that on my sweater.
May recalled, May entered the spotlight.
And worse than Kerry bringing everything to the
rural Western Slope District. The standards highlight American exceptionalism, patriotism, and Christianity. His efforts triggered a backlash and failed. A coalition formed accusing May of bullying and marginalizing behavior on the board. Alex Sanchez is with the community group Voces Unidas.
Voters rejected Tony May, and they rejected Tony May's extremist agenda.
May could not be reached for comment, but has said the recall effort was politically motivated. Jenny Bendine, CPR News.
The state health department campaign aims to raise awareness of dementia. Researchers are discovering things that are good or bad for the heart also apply to the brain. Jim Herlihy is with the Alzheimer's Association.
Basically, heart health and brain health are intertwined, and things that create issues for your heart, high blood pressure, diabetes, are issues that also increase your likelihood of developing Alzheimer's.
The new campaign includes information about warning signs and the benefits of early detection. Events are underway today at the Paralympics, and Colorado athletes are competing. Yan Xiaogong, a world champion shooter, is making his Paralympic debut. He'd like to see the games get more attention from American viewers.
Where I grew up in China, anybody mentioning the Olympics or the Paralympics, it's like one of the most sacred things. I mean, there's nothing higher than that.
Swimmer Elizabeth Marks from Colorado Springs competes today in her 3rd Paralympics. This is CPR News and KRCC.
I've signed a historic piece of legislation here in the United States that includes the biggest, most important climate commitment we have ever made in the history of our country.
President Biden set the goal: cut U.S. carbon emissions in half by 2030.
So let this be the moment to find within ourselves the will to promote a resilient, sustainable, clean energy economy to preserve our planet.
Anything to make money,
Achieving that goal will require
you want another $50 billion for that?
Lithium.
This lithium deposit is one of the richest ones in North America.
Copper.
We are at probably an inflection point in the annual demand for copper.
Cobalt.
The only way to survive in that part of the Congo is to pick up a strip of rebar or their bare hands and start digging in pits for cobalt, because it's everywhere.
Nickel.
That's kind of stupid having the fucking trailer and then putting the tent on top.
50 Lightning, you know, we're looking, I think, almost at about 180 pounds of just nickel in that battery.
That trailer's got a tent.
Each element serves a different purpose,
For the
but
top
they
of it.
all have one important thing in common.
Without mining, there will not be.
Granted, the little teardrop trailer is not big enough to sleep in.
But increasing mining to meet our clean energy needs comes at a cost.
If we're going to be using these
I bet you somebody
materials,
would.
we need to first of all be honest with ourselves and be
If
more
it's
aware.
comfortable and warm.
Especially if you look at
Are
the
cool.
environmental and social costs.
You have your
of
house right there.
Becoming a smelting and mining and battery hub to the world.
It's not up to me to decide what to do with this land. This is their land. This is their ancestral land.
Well,
They don't
trigger
want this
with
to
it.
happen.
Good in there.
This is an On Point special series.
There is no math about the new demand for these minerals.
All the mining companies, they're billionaires, and we're still poor, destitute, struggling.
The most negative story you could tell, the worst assumptions you could project.
To take the lithium out of this ground is another form of genocide or cultural
This probably could have
genocide.
been cooked just a little longer.
still, it's going to be a vast, vast, vast improvement.
There's one thing I don't like
on
about
the
those
ongoing apocalypse that is the fossil fuel economy.
Elements of energy, mining for a green future. Episode 4, The Promise of Nickel.
Nickel is a grayish metal commonly used as an alloy to make stainless steel. In an electric vehicle battery, it can increase energy density and storage capacity, thus allowing the vehicle to move farther on a single charge. Indonesia, Australia, and the Philippines are the world's largest nickel producers. Indonesia's nickel production has nearly tripled since 2020, and the country now accounts for more than 50% of global supply. Controversially, though, the nickel production methods in Indonesia have not been at the same standards expected of Western miners, fueling controversy across global nickel markets. The only U.S. nickel mine will be depleted by 2025.
That nickel primer provided, as he has all this week, by Ernest Scheider, author of The War Below, Lithium, Copper, and the Global Battle to Power Our Lives. As Ernest says, the nickel story is an Indonesian story. In 2022, global production of nickel hit approximately 3.3 million tons, and fully half of that came from Indonesia. Nickel plays a critical role in the clean energy future. It's so essential to the development of electric vehicle batteries that the element was a frequent point of discussion from Tesla executive Andrew Baglino at Tesla Battery Day 2020.
And that's what we have on the chart here. $1 per kilowatt hour cathode of just the metal. And you can see nickel is the cheapest and the highest energy density. And that's why increasing nickel is a goal of ours and really everybody's in the energy in the battery industry. They do.
Indonesia's most important nickel reserves are on the islands of Halmahera and Sulawesi. And it's on jungle-capped Sulawesi where we met Habib Najar Baduha.
Saya bukan saintik, saya bukan.
Baduha is multi-talented. He's made a living as a journalist, as a tour guide, and as a scriptwriter for Indonesian soap operas. But in 2009, Baduha found his true calling in marine protection. He's founder of the Toli Toli Labenki Giant Clam Conservation Project.
The largest one ever found was 137 centimeters. Around here, though, they're only about 90 centimeters.
That's almost 2 feet across. The largest are known to grow to more than 4 feet. So yes, Tridacnidicus are gigantic. They can weigh hundreds of pounds and live for more than 100 years. Giant clams were once common in the turquoise shallows off the Sulawesi coast. But starting in 2014, Baduha discovered they were getting harder to find because they were being buried alive, thanks in part to nickel mining.
Poor mining management causes soil and mining waste to enter the sea. It's killing the clams. The sediment goes down. We found an area where the sediment exceeded 1 meter in the year 2021 alone.
Baduha's 2014 discovery came precisely the same year that then Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono approved a total ban on mineral ore exports out of the country. It shook up the global nickel industry, and since then the hills and rainforests surrounding Sulawesi's coastline have been razed for new nickel mines and processing facilities. For Indonesia, the nickel export ban wasn't simply a power play to control global mineral supplies. It was a central part of the government's long-term plan to leverage nickel's importance in the clean energy future to bring greater development and prosperity to Indonesia now.
Amidst the world slowdown, we stand firm as home to a fifth of global nickel reserves. Indonesia is poised to lead the global EV battery industry. We endeavor.
In fact, nickel is so valuable to Indonesia, the government touts it in television ads like this one that air around the world. As current President Joko Widodo told The Economist when Indonesia hosted the G20 back in 2022,
Ya, kita memang ingin membangun sebuah ekosistem besar untuk
quote, yes, we want to build a large ecosystem for EV batteries, and this will provide added benefit for Indonesia. That's what we're after. End quote.
Apa yang kita kejar ini.
Committing to environmental protection, enhancing investment climate through digital licensing. Indonesia, your better tomorrow.
In Sulawesi, Habib Najjar Baduha says the nickel hasn't bettered the tomorrow for many island residents or the environment. In the dry season, winds whipping through the strip mines kick up dust storms. In the rainy season, mud from the mines pours through local villages and into the ocean, burying the adult giant clams.
The seawater used to be clear. Now, it's like a river, especially during the rainy season. You can't see anything in the water. It's murky, very murky. The color is reddish-brown.
The mines themselves aren't the only problem. Sulawesi's air and water are further polluted by a new, closely related industry, one that seemed to spring up almost overnight along the Sulawesi coast. In 2021, Chinese-owned companies began setting up sprawling smelting plants that turn raw nickel ore into EV-grade battery metal.
This is a very sad situation. Very, very, very sad.
And this past December, 21 people died when a fire broke out at one of those smelters, owned by a division of China's Tsingshan Holding Group. Baduha says coral reefs are also being buried in pollution. Some fish are disappearing from nearby waters. That's forcing local fishermen further out to sea to pursue their catch at greater expense and risk. So while Indonesia's national economy may be growing, mining and smelting are creating existential challenges for communities that rely on healthy oceans and forests. For example, per capita income is up. It reached $4,580 in 2022. But to get into the top 5 economies, Indonesians' incomes will have to quadruple. As such, President Joko Widodo promised major reforms of the nation's educational and vocational systems. Indonesia proclaimed independence from Dutch colonial rule on August 17, 1945. Today, the government is unwavering in its stated goal to transform the world's 4th most populous nation into one of the world's largest economies. And it wants to do it by Indonesia's 100th birthday, which the government is calling 2045 Golden Indonesia. President Widodo is term limited and will leave office this October. But he is resolute in his belief that nickel and other elements essential for clean energy will pave the way to a new Indonesia. His own path may be evidence of that. Widodo is the nation's first president who does not come from Indonesia's political or military elite. He used to run a furniture factory.
Ya, kita perlu itu. Ada perubahan mindset.
There is a change in mindset, a change in the way of working, Widodo says. Quote, I believe with the power of natural resources and the strength of human resources, I believe it is true that this country will be able to leap forward. End quote.
Manusia, kekuatan pasar yang besar, kita akan bisa.
When we come back,
We were colonized for 350 years. The next 70 years, we are just still producing commodities, which was the reason why we were colonized. Something has to change.
Episode 4 of our series Elements of Energy continues in a moment. This is On Point.
Awareness of your favorite nonprofit through the spirit of sharing sponsorship. This program connects your business with your mission and may also be considered a 501c3 nonprofit contribution. More at cpr.org/spirit of sharing.
Morning editions from WF News. We want you to be able to focus on the important stuff this Sunday. Maybe a little camping. We'll keep you up to date.
Weekday mornings until 9 right here, CPR News. WVUR Boston, help committed to helping conquer your issues ranging from challenges in gold and more.
Still a bunch of coke down there, isn't there?
Going to MathWorks, Math Lab, and emulating software for people computing and automated design.
That way, you think down there, grab a couple of things. Sure, somebody's taking it back. That'd be Alex, yeah.
sleep cycles, poor quality of sleep, and then maybe insomnia. So you're paradoxically tired in the morning. You think I'm working something me up, and so on and so on. And it just
You used to be able to change over from one to the other. And it was the same program, but they changed their programming about a year or so ago. Now when you change over to something else.
Are we going by your store?
My old store?
Yes.
Yeah.
You going in?
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty busy right now.
Indicating that the program isn't intended for children of age 16.
Did you need something, or did you want to go and say,
I just need some blockers. I'll use some blockers for a while, see what happens. See if I don't find my stuff. It's gotta be in one of those big old bags, I just don't know where it's at.
I used to avoid energy drinks mostly due to the high sugar and calorie content. However, now most energy drinks have zero sugar, though there are some exceptions. And I use energy drinks regularly because of the many benefits of caffeine for me. Plus, it's easier to just grab one from the fridge than to go through the process of cleaning up afterwards. I think the sugar and calories of the older day energy drinks really led to their bad reputation. I mean, Francis, how has the reputation of energy drinks changed over time?
Well, I think the energy drink industry realized what this person was talking about here, that they have the opportunity to appeal to health-conscious consumers by creating products that claim to boost energy, focus, mood, not have jitters or crash, that have zero calories. There are meant to be free workout drinks that help muscular endurance, help body for performance. So they end up appealing to these whole group of consumers who have been interested in drinking the traditional energy drink that was out on the market. And it's not uncommon for, to build a brand. That's what companies do. And it's unfortunate that it's for a product that is harmful. And some of these products also have very similar looking products in their brand line that don't have caffeine in them. So the non-caffeinated products and the energy products look very much the same. And that helps for branding and for a company for promotion, because every time you see one of these products, you think of the energy drink brand, for example. But it can be very confusing, and it could lead to inadvertent consumption of caffeine if people aren't intending to do that. Prime Energy Drink was an example. Also, making a product that's maybe a hydration drink or a sports drink, and getting a whole audience interested and having consumers like it, and then creating an energy drink product that looks very similar, is very similar market, very similar taste, and you already have a market there. And basically you're saying, if you like this product, now we have this other one here for you. And with pretty disastrous consequences, as Prime was really popular among very young children, and parents were sometimes, and teachers, unable to tell what was in kids' hands because the products look so similar. So I think that is a good way to market, but it's not good in terms of public health.
We got this message from Robbie who says, boy, have I got a story for you. It all started junior year of high school. My friend came over with 2 monsters, one for each of us. I drank it and loved the taste and felt great. That was 2003. Now let's fast forward to today, and now it's something I can't live without. When we talk about energy drinks and the health concerns around them, how much variation is there, Dr. Benjamin, between the effects on a 13-year-old to, say, a 16-year-old to someone who's maybe 18?
Well, the younger you are and the physically smaller you are, the more susceptible you can be to the toxic side effects of caffeine. There's also so many other factors that make it really complicated, that people really have to make their own individual one-on-one decisions. So some people might be a lot more affected. One energy drink for you might trigger rapid heartbeats. It might be fine for me. So some of that gets into your own general health too. If I had a heart condition, if I had high risk for stroke, if I'm on an ADHD medication, if I'm on, blood pressure medication, I really want to be a lot more careful about using an energy drink than if I'm doing a very high intensity sport where my heart is going to beat very, very, very fast because I'm a good athlete. Do I really want a drug overstimulating my heart? When I'm playing my sports. So I think it's the education, and making good decisions.
Well, Karen, briefly, how informed are we as consumers in any given store?
I'll leave this here, Fred. I have my keys.
Okay, I gotta get my shit.